Thank you for joining us today. I'm Jeremy Werner. I'm the Corporate Vice President and General Manager of Micron's Storage Business Unit. I have a fantastic guest with me here today, Liran Zvibel, who's the CEO of WEKA. Welcome.
Thank you, Jeremy, for having me.
Liran and I have known each other for some time, and WEKA has really developed and blossomed with the takeoff in AI as a leader in data platform technology. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about what that journey was like for you. What was the genesis of WEKA?
So WEKA is actually our second storage company. After we were done with the first one, IBM acquired us. We got a lot of experience. We identified two main issues with the legacy storage market. Okay. One, the market is insanely fragmented. There are dozens of products that actually sell, and customers have to go and choose the right product for the right application. Sometimes customers have 40 different products running in their organizations. The other problem was that even though the engineering is all software, 99% of the engineers are software engineers, the delivery is always in some proprietary hardware box. It makes it very difficult on-prem when you're buying your service from one vendor and the storage from another vendor, but it makes it impossible to run this on the cloud.
Okay.
So we didn't want to do that anymore. We said, never again. Then in 2013, before we decided to found WEKA, three major innovations happened. Microservices with containers happened. NVMe happened. So finally, you could connect flash directly to the CPU with no controllers. Third, networking has really caught up to compute speed. So traditionally, the network was way slower than the server. Nowadays, it's as fast or even faster. Taking the three components together, instead of taking the namespace and breaking it down to controllers, where each controller owns a smaller portion of the namespace, like a traditional storage array, then if the clients choose to all access what's on a single controller, they're basically doing a denial of service attack to that machine. What we have done, we're taking all of the data, all of the metadata, breaking it down to tiny little pieces, and then we're running a perfect load balancing of all of the IOs, data IOs through all of the NVMe devices, and all the metadata operation through all of the CPUs. So we were able to create a system that runs all of the workloads better than the one-off products and doesn't require any specific hardware. So it runs on premises and the cloud.
Wow. So what you end up with is a very flexible, scalable, and high-performance data platform to be able to serve all applications in a data center, but especially you've had a lot of success lately as AI's taken off in the data center. So huge congratulations to you. You recently announced your Series E funding, $140 million at a $1.6 billion valuation. It's an amazing accomplishment. I personally was involved with 3 startups. None of them ever got to unicorn status, so I know how much effort goes into achieving such a huge valuation. Micron was an early investor in WEKA, so I know we always believed in your capabilities as a company. Recently, I saw that NVIDIA was a big investor in the Series E. Now, I think that has something to do with your success in driving AI platforms. Tell us a little bit about this Series E, what it means to you, and why NVIDIA would participate in this round.
Yeah, it's a great question, and thank you for the congratulations. It's a very big milestone for us. So from the bird's eye, when you ask a VC, hey, what would make a company, a startup successful, you need 2 components. You need the market to take off, and you need a 10x advantage. And fortunately, we have both. When you're looking at the data center and the new projects, they're built around this triangle of compute, network, and data. NVIDIA was able to get compute and network to be 4, 5, 6 orders of magnitude faster than what was possible just a decade ago with standard CPUs and previous kind of Ethernet. When you have made compute and the network so much faster, you also need the data to be so much faster. What we're showing is that we can fully saturate all the links. We provide a lot of more small IOs, and it works well with the smaller files. So when customers switch to us, they're actually getting much better utilization out of their GPUs. So when customers tend to WEKA, when they're comparing, hey, I can buy products that were built on ideas that made sense in the 80s and the 90s and the 2Ks, that's 100% of our competitors, they're not realizing their full potential. When they're buying new kind of compute and new kind of network, they also need to buy new kind of a data platform.
So this AI explosion is just a huge opportunity for your data platform solution.
For sure. And another part that's interesting for AI, and we're probably going to touch on it on another question, is AI is not an application. It's not a code anymore. It's a pipeline. And through that pipeline, you're starting with ingesting, you're running the MLOps or LLM ops ETL, you're training, you're checkpointing, you're then running a huge regression, making sure the new model is better, you're inferencing in production, and you're archiving. You have so many more steps. If you're subscribing to the old mode of, hey, each step has a different system, you're wasting a lot of resources, and you're not making as much progress as you could.
And I think all this training's come a long way with LLMs, with picture generation, image generation models like Stable Diffusion, but there's still a lot of opportunity ahead of us in terms of what's possible with AI. We've barely scratched the surface, I think, on training with video, for instance.
For sure. So we're seeing generative AI really starting to take off, but the way we're experiencing the market now, we're working with a lot of startups, building technologies. We have not yet seen the large enterprises really buying them, really leveraging them. Enterprises are still in this discretionary mode where they're running small POCs, where we think the market's going to go. Again, predicting is hard, especially the future. We think that in the next 2-3 years, we're going to have a lot less of these startups. Maybe the best 20% are going to remain there. But now we're going to find out the best ideas for leveraging AI and generative AI in enterprises. And then the big companies, the corporations, will really start leveraging these for the day-to-day operations. We're looking at that mode like mobile was in 2007. You know, when Steve Jobs launched the iPhone, I think a lot of people realized, hey, there is a huge potential there. But it took about 5 more years for different kind of apps, for people to fully comprehend, hey, this thing, the fact that I have another computer in my pocket changes everything. AI and Gen AI are closer to the iPhone of 2007 than to the iPhone of 24.
Right. Yeah, we're truly at the very early stages of this transformative technology.
For sure.
I really believe that simplicity is key. And you talked about the fragmentation of storage systems. I see it when I talk to customers. It's really hard to find these system administrators who are able to manage so many different storage solutions, converged solutions, network solutions, different object, file, block. So being able to provide that simplicity absolutely has got to be a huge value for your customers or our mutual customers, I actually know for a fact. One of the simplifications that I think customers are looking for today is around the hybrid cloud. Now, you and I had spoken a couple years back about the hybrid cloud, how it was going to be something that all enterprises would embrace because there are still some benefits of being on-prem, but also benefits of running some of your workload on the cloud. Where are you in that journey? Where are your customers now in terms of adopting hybrid cloud, and what kind of solutions are you offering?
So you're spot on. Hybrid cloud is something that we used to talk about in future tense a few years ago, but now it's really starting to happen. I think there were many organizations that were religious on staying only on premises. There were some that said, no, we're all in on the cloud. I think both realized they're not getting the best value. The cloud is best utilized for elasticity. If you're just taking everything you've run on-prem, you're transforming it one-to-one to the cloud, it's going to be really expensive. But if you're not leveraging cloud at all for elasticity, you really have to provision on-premises data centers that are way bigger than what you need for a majority of the time. The smart customers we're starting to see are leveraging on-prem for 80–90% of the time. We're running most of their workloads, and then they're leveraging cloud either for DR or for bursting of added compute power when they need that. Some of them store the capacity on the cloud as well, but some actually choose to build a flash-based object storage in some Colo and Equinix or similar that they're controlling on premises. They can extend the namespace from their on-prem places to their, they can also extend the namespace from the cloud to there, and they can really manage the costs in an impressive way.
That's so cool. So, you know, that is a vision I've always had for companies, because obviously, like, if you're an e-commerce company, here comes Black Friday, your compute needs are going to spike through the roof, but then, you know, other times of the year, you can satisfy what you need on-prem very cost-effectively. So one of the things we've seen a lot from our mutual customers is the adoption of the Micron 6500 Ion 30 terabyte drive. Now, this product has won a lot of awards over the past year. Why do you think this product in particular has become so popular with your customers?
So I'd like to start by saying that I think the Ion 6500s are one of the best engineered flash products now on the market.
Thank you so much.
You were able to cram a lot of capacity, 30 terabytes, come up with a QLC-like price point with a TLC-like performance. So engineering is all about making the right trade-offs, making the right choices, and you have made great choices in making this device. We have basically two different uses to flash in these AI GPU accelerate workloads. There is the pinnacle of performance, a small portion of the capacity that needs insanely high amount of IOs and throughput, and this is where the 94, 9500s work out. If in large capacities, maybe you can get it with the 7450, but then most of the capacity that we're seeing for these Gen AI projects are actually in the overall corpus, where you still need low latency, you still need good amount of throughputs. We're now seeing projects with hundreds of petabytes. We're now seeing several projects that are exabyte scale. You know, a year ago, had you told me, hey, Liran, you're going to have customers buying an exabyte or two, or now we have 5 in a single project, I would have told you, Jeremy, you're out of your mind. Look, looking forward is good, but that's never going to happen.
Okay, I'm going to tell you today, 2 years from now, we're going to be back sitting at this table, and we're going to be talking about 10 exabyte deployments in the data center running on your software.
By the way, now I can see it happening more than 2 years ago. I would have seen an exabyte now.
I believe it. It's amazing how fast the needs for relatively fast but also cost-effective storage have grown. One of the things that's driving that need and the TCO equation from hard drives and many hard drives, you know, scaled out to consolidated racks of solid state storage, like what we're providing, is sustainability. And one of the driving impetus for sustainability is the fact that we're running out of power in this country and in many countries around the world. In fact, recently, there was an article by the Washington Post that reported the same, that America's running out of power. And I saw a statement that stuck with me the other day, which was, there is no backup planet, which really made me think about some pride in terms of what we're doing to be able to bring the power consumption of the data center down with solid state storage. Maybe you could talk a little bit about how SSDs and the data platform deliver better power utilization in the data center and better efficiency at the data center level.
Yeah, so just to begin with, I concur completely. We do have a problem. Now, our last round was led by Valor. The previous round was led by Generation Investment Management. It's a fund founded by Al Gore, the former VP, and David Blood. They care mostly about sustainability. They invested in us because they have figured out, hey, we're making a big dent in how can you save power. Also, what we've learned from them, a decade ago, data centers consume 1.5% of total power consumption. Nowadays, it's 3%. In a couple of years, it's going to be 8%.
Wow.
So an exponential growth. And at that point, data centers are going to consume more power than all of the human workforce combined. So we do have a problem. What we're seeing with our customers, when they pick WEKA, two things happen. One, because we provide data so much quicker to the GPUs, we are getting their utilization to be way higher. So one customer that adopted us on AWS instead of FSx for Lustre at very large scale started with a problem that their GPUs were only working at 30% utilization throughout the day.
Wow.
When they switched to WEKA, we're able to show them that they're getting 6 times the throughput and 40 times the IOs. But data scientists don't care about throughput and IOs. What they care about is getting their job done. What they've realized, hey, we got their GPU utilization going from the 30% a day to the high 80s. So the same GPU cluster was able to deliver 3 times the output. So if you can generate 3 times the output using the same amount of power, it's a huge saving.
Sure.
The other part where we make a huge difference, because we support all the protocols, because we support all of the workloads, you don't need to start copying data around different systems, which happens today. You ingest to the WEKA, you run your MLOps, ETL portions on the WEKA, you run the training, the checkpointing on the WEKA, you run the large-scale validation on the WEKA, the inference on the WEKA, and archiving also happens on the WEKA. You're saving the job of keeping 3 or 4 or 5 different platforms and copying data around.
Wow.
This is also a huge savings.
Wow.
We've commissioned some work to try and quantify it, and they found out just on the effect on the storage, when you're using WEKA, a petabyte of WEKA saves 260 kilotons of carbon dioxide emission per year, which is a huge amount.
That's amazing. So helping the planet, saving customers money, making data centers more efficient, improving the efficiency of the entire infrastructure, and bringing new capabilities to humanity. Thank you so much for being here today. Truly a pleasure to have seen you and your vision come to reality, and everything that you're doing for WEKA and for the industry in general. I just want to thank you again for being here.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jeremy, for having me. I really like having these discussions, so thanks.
And thank you for joining us. We hope that you enjoyed our discussion today and learn more about how WEKA and Micron are collaborating to bring you some of the world's most advanced storage solutions.